Hey everybody, this is Ryan with South Jersey Yak Fishing. Thanks once again for tuning in. This trip is a PDL trip, and that's because I tried to take a jetty trip with my autopilot last week just to find out that the engine wasn't working. And my fish finder wasn't working either, so I couldn't see the structure and couldn't spot lock over it anyway if I wanted to. So that was a disaster. This trip's going to end up being a meat mission as my mother-in-law is in town. And today we're going to be fishing the bridge. The bait is fiddler crabs, and because this trip is one that I took on a Saturday after work, I don't really get much of a choice in the tide that I want to fish, and I only have about 2 hours before the sun goes down to get the job done. And although I have my doubts as to whether or not I will find a decent bite with these kinds of limitations, this will end up being the perfect short little trip because the bite window is going to seemingly open up the second I arrive and shut down right when I'm ready to leave. So yeah, let's go get them. Okay, so here we are at the first piling, and before I took this trip I had to catch some bait. So here's just a little footage of me gathering some fiddlers in my garage. Yep, that's right, we're at the point in the year where I'm going to go catch a whole bunch of them and try to keep them on hand just so that I can grab and go. So this is just me tapping my fiddler farm for about 20 crabs or so. It's about all I need for a 2-hour trip, and this just makes it way convenient, especially now that they're going to be harder and harder to find as the weather gets colder. And I'm only going to need to keep them on hand until mid-October, and that's about when the bite's going to die and the sheep are going to move out of here. But until then, I should have fiddlers at my disposal whenever I want. And I literally have had my jig drop down on this piling for about a minute and a half, and already I'm going to hook up. Nice. Woo. Alright, he's like almost 17. I'm gonna keep this one because I don't know if I'm gonna get another one. We call this lucky. So yeah, you can hear by the way that I'm talking that I'm still not confident that I'm going to have a good bite on this trip. And again, that's just quite simply because I'm not fishing the tide that I would normally choose to fish. So I'm going to keep this fish for the dinner table. I'm going to bleed them out, put them on ice, and then see if I can get out and find any more fish just for fun, because I've only been fishing for like 5 minutes and I still got like 19 crabs or so. But I'm going to be pleasantly surprised as there's plenty more sheepshead where that last one came from. Okay, so this is the very next drop, and I'm sitting forward in my seat as you often see me doing. And when I'm in my PDL, a lot of times I will turn the pedal crank with my hand because this allows me to sit upright with my rod tip parallel to the water, or even angled down as opposed to me sitting back in my seat with my feet on the pedals and my rod tip angled up. This is important to me for two reasons, one of them being that I have better communication with my rod tip and I can feel the bite better. And secondly, it allows me to sit in a position where I can keep my rod tip relatively close to the water surface. And because I fish fairly light tackle, my rod bends a lot. So for me to set that hook effectively on a sheepshead, it requires quite a bit of an arm swing on the hook set to penetrate the roof of their mouth. And I often fish out of my PDL in this fashion just because I feel it increases my hookup ratio. And this next clip is going to show something strange that happened that you know definitely was not part of the plan. Yeah, did you guys see that? That was my jig and leader line wrapping around my overhead camera pole. You kidding me? Of all the things. Yeah, that took a few minutes to get straightened out, but I'm gonna get right back up there and hook up again. Right now, I'm trying to get my jig baited up and put back down on the bottom as quickly as possible, as the bite is hot right now, and I don't know how long that's gonna last. And you really have to be on the ball when you're fishing for sheepshead, guys, because they can find and hit your bait lightning fast, just like that. This one looks bigger. It's probably about 18, 19 maybe. But pretty hard. The thing that sucks about this kayak is I'm drifting away. Yeah, two things that I miss about my autopilot, one of them being the spot lock. After I hook up with the fish, I can just hit one button and stay in my position, and it keeps me from drifting down the canal. It's a bit more work in this PDL because I got to go back to where I came from. And then the other thing is the raw amount of deck space to deal with the fish. Some of these fish have sharp spines on them like porcupine quills, and it's nice to have more room to work with so that I don't get spiked. And speaking of which, don't spike me. Don't spike me. Ow, you spiked me. Yeah, I think I get wounded every trip. It's all part of the game. Alright, 19-inch sheepshead. Can't let her go without falling in. And I do have to be a little bit more careful when releasing fish. This kayak's a little bit more tipsy. My autopilot is a much more stable platform. Bye. Woo! Successful release, and I didn't flip in. Alright, so right now I am engaging this piling in a very similar way as to what I would do in my autopilot. However, I'm only able to do this because there is no wind factor. If the wind had been blowing across the canal, it'd be blowing me right off this piling. So this is one disadvantage for me in the pedal kayak. However, one huge advantage is that I literally have hands-free instant reverse. And it takes way more time on the autopilot to turn that engine head around 180 degrees. Not to mention the fact that while I'm doing that, I can't fight the fish. But in the pedal kayak, I can. Alright, so number 3 landed. I think I had 5 hookups, I lost 2. This one looks like it's the same size as the last one, right around 19. $18. Alright, get it back into water. All right, 18-inch sheepshead going home. Come on, buddy. Bye. Woo! All right, so right now in this clip, I am sitting back in the seat, and this is the position that I don't particularly like to fish in. And the reason being is that I'm pedaling with my feet as it was intended by the Old Town kayak manufacturers, but my knees are hitting my elbow and making it very difficult to feel the bite. So I'm going to change to my preferred position, sitting upright at the edge of the seat, and I'm going to hook up almost immediately. But for the record, I just missed 4 fish on the previous 4 hook set attempts, and that kind of indicates to me that the bite might be starting to slow down a bit, as they're becoming more difficult to hook right now. They are easiest to hook when the bite is aggressive, or in other words, when they're right in the middle of the bite window. All right, sheepshead going home. Come on, buddy. Look up for me. Go. Woo! All right. Okay, so this is going to be the last fish, and we're going to have something interesting going on with this fish when we get him onto the deck. And if you've been watching my channel this past season, it's something we've seen before. Woo! Yeah, this is a nicer one. Alright, so this one is measuring approximately, looks like 19 inches. Oh look, he's got that ick all over him. Yeah, see those little white spots on his fins and on his body? A couple of videos ago, I did a little piece on this, and I will leave a link to that video at the end of this one, but it's something called ick, which is just a parasite that they get, and he's got him pretty bad. But he seems like a healthy fish, and according to what I've been able to research, he should shake this off and be just fine. Woo! All right. All right, that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you liked it enough to want to help my channel grow, go down to the comment section and swipe that section to the right and hit that hype button. That'll really help me out a lot. I hope you liked this video. If you did, hit that like button, smash that notification bell, and please consider supporting me by subscribing to my channel, as I would greatly appreciate it. Catch you next time, guys. Peace.